All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Daily December 2023. This is day 12, I think. What is it? 12. So, today we are going to do a little something that I call exploiting my YouTube channel in order to get prep work done for my RPG campaign. Yes, today. If anyone has been watching, hold please. Anyone who's watching my YouTube channel or my Twitch channel on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time, I'm running a Fabula Ultima campaign. We had our first actual session this past week. We have our next session tomorrow. And I kind of went all out with this thing. I went and I found a website where I could make custom pixel art tokens for each of the characters, and so I made all these things, and then Jax went and did something amazing and made her own little custom pixel art version of it. It was super cool. And the other thing I did is I went and I bought a bunch of animated tokens on Roll20 just to make it seem that much cooler. And I bought token packs. And so I got much more than the 3 that I bought each pack for. I think each one came with like a dozen or maybe 2 dozen different animated tokens. The monsters in the book that I originally chose, I picked out tokens that I thought might represent those monsters pretty well. They weren't perfect, but they worked for what we wanted them to do. However, Fabula Ultima has a pretty... I'm going to try this one more time. Fabula Ultima has a pretty simple guide to building your own creatures. And what I thought would be fun is we're just going to go through a bunch of... or at least one, I don't know. It depends on how long this takes. We're going to go through at least one of the animated tokens that I bought and create a stat block for it so that I can use it in the game. Because a lot of these I just don't have stat blocks for, or they're not going to make sense for where the party is. And so this is a way for me to kind of get around that. And I think it'll be fun to kind of design a monster based on basically artwork. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. But just listening to me talk about nonsense while you're staring at my face would not be fun. So, zoop. This is a rough overlay. I understand that. I threw this together very, very quickly. But this is obviously the Fabula Ultima battle scene with a little bit of it cut off. And this other thing... Doop. This is a website called Fultimator. And it's basically just a lot of resources for Fabula Ultima. And one of the things they have on there is this little NPC template thing, which I really love. I used it to design Silas's pet Robo-Wolf. And I've played around with it a little bit more, but I haven't designed any monsters that I was planning on using in combat until now. So the first thing we need to do is come up with which token we want to use. And if any of my players are watching this, I don't think this is going to be super spoilery, but, you might see a monster and not be completely surprised when it shows up. So feel free to just kind of be patient and wait until after the next game to check this out. If we have combat in that game at all, I don't know. Combat takes... Well, now that they've learned how everything works, I think combat should probably be a lot faster. But anyway, let's look at some of the stuff. So one of the things I think is just amazing, and I'm going to put this here. Really? No. There we go. I'm going to put this here and I'm going to make it bigger so you guys can see. This is what they call a Frostfire Chinchilla. This is an adult Frostfire Chinchilla. If you want to see the baby version, this is the baby version. So as you can see, they're very much, you know, pixel art. They're supposed to be pixel art. But they're adorable! And so those are possibilities for something. I was looking, there's a few other ones that I thought was pretty cool. Oh, because of where they are, let me just put these in here. These are various elementals. Don't do that. These are various elementals. So this one's supposed to be an ice elemental, and this one's supposed to be a jade elemental. So just because of where they are, I think it might make sense. And I could even use the jade elemental as like a wind elemental kind of thing, because it's green like the wind crystal. So that might be fun. And then most of them do have something kind of big, like, show you guys this one here. Just gonna have to block out a few for a second, but they call this Bringer of Darkness. So this might be fun. Like, this definitely feels more like a boss kind of character. But I'm planning on having a boss fight be like the final episode will have a boss fight in it. So this is something I thought about having fun. And if this was just a regular creature, it might be fun to kind of turn this into maybe like a shadow creature, because in a land of pure, you know, where it's always daylight, having shadows that kind of get up and attack people could be a lot of fun. So based on this, I think I want to start with the adult chinchilla thing because it's adorable. So we're going to create a stat block for this Frostfire chinchilla. And so we're going to come over to Fulminator. And the first choice we need to make, and I'm going to be following the Designing NPCs guide in the Fabula Ultima core book. The first thing we need to choose, we're supposed to do some traits for them. I like to do the traits at the end. But the next thing to do is choose the level. The level is going to be 5, just because the ones that they fought last week were all level 5 creatures, and they actually did an impressive amount of damage. So I was a little bit shocked that there was a chance I might have knocked out one of the party members during the fight. So I don't think we need to go too much higher than level 5 for right now. The players themselves just hit level 6 because I'm basically having them level up after every session, since we're only playing for 4 sessions. I thought that was perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm going to keep it at level 5. And then species. Different species have different kind of benefits and drawbacks. For this particular creature, I might keep it as a beast. The creatures that they fought last time were monsters. And I'm going to look and see kind of what they are. So beasts are feral creatures with animal intelligence. While their shape is sometimes twisted by magic, they generally do not use spells. Versus monsters are magical beasts, generally quite intelligent and gifted with supernatural powers. Their features are often bizarre. So, we could go beast or monster. I don't think any of them. I mean, we could, like, the elemental one is, elementals are tangible manifestations of great forces of nature. Some of them are sentient, but many are devoid of thought. So I could go that this is kind of but it doesn't really feel like an elemental. So I think I might just make it a monster. And this is something I really like about Fabula Ultima, is just by having a species that kind of gives you guidance on where to start, it's really, really useful. So I think I'm gonna make this a monster. As you can see, it actually this particular thing already figures out if there's things like constructs. If I was to make it, I'll give you an example. If I make it a construct, you'll notice that it gains resistance to, what is that? Is that earth damage? Yeah, resistance to earth damage and immunity to poison over here. And it just automatically does that because that's what Fultimator was designed to do. But we're not making a robot. We might make a robot later, but for right now, we're just going to go with a monster. And then, yeah, so after doing that, we're supposed to do a... we're supposed to do the stuff here next, the attributes. And I think I'm going to go slightly out of order to kind of figure out what else I want this creature to do. So we'll come back to this. And you can make it have phases and multi-parts. And like there's lots of really cool stuff here. For rank, we're just going to make it a soldier. Rank is basically just how hard the monster is. A soldier is just a standard monster. If it goes up to elite, the hit points basically get doubled, and it actually has has multiple attacks that it can make every turn. An elite creature makes 2 attacks per turn, and so it's meant to represent 2 creatures. And then champion gets even bigger, and basically champions can be however many creatures you want them to be. So champions are basically like bosses. So if I wanted a champion that's supposed to represent 5 creatures, that would be that right there. But this is just going to be a soldier. And it's not a villain, so we don't need to worry about that. So, since we're going to hold off on the attributes, let's figure out some basic attacks. So for this particular creature, because it has both frost and fire, I think it would be cool for it to have 2 different attacks. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here. We're going to go basic attacks. We're going to add 1. And I think this first one, I think it'd be cool if it was a... helps if I... Frost Bite. And it's literally the creature going up. I think I'm going to go Frost Bite. So it's literally the creature going up and just nomming on them. And this feels like a creature that's going to be kind of quick. So I know one attribute's going to be dexterity. And I don't think both of them should be dexterity though. So let's go dexterity insight. I kind of like that. Because not only will it need to be nimble and quick, but it's going to have to get around defenses to go up and nom on somebody. And then the damage type is going to be ice, because it's Frost Bite. I think that's kind of cool. So we have that. We can add special effects to it later, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And then I'd like to give it another basic attack. This one's going to be a ranged attack. And this is going to be... it's going to flip around and swing its tail, and a little kind of bolt of fire is going to go off. So now we have both frost and fire. See how it works? I think it's cool. So we're going to go... we're going to call this... Cinder Tail. I feel like I am making a Pokemon. And I think the same kind of thing, because dexterity tends to be like aiming as well, and then insight as well. So I think both of them, those make sense. But this is going to be fire. So as you can see, really simple to make the attacks. You just choose what attributes they use. You choose the things, you choose the name, then you choose the damage type, and that's really it. And you can get more complicated in a little bit, but we'll deal with that in just a second. And since we've started, kind of defining this is going to be both a dexterous animal and a kind of smart animal or monster, I think we can kind of go back. And I think we're going to go with the specialized. So we're going to go Dex as a D10, Insight as a D10, and then Mind and Willpower are going to be D6s. So now we have this. You'll notice the hit points drop because the might's not particularly great. And yeah, we can play around with that in a little bit. So that's kind of the basics of the monster. Now we get to give them skills. Skills are basically ways to make the monster unique. And they have they have kind of guidelines on how to make your own skills, but the skills that they have in the book are kind of broad enough that I haven't really felt the need to kind of create my own skills just yet. So I think one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to give them resistance to both fire and ice. So if I go fire, this is how you give resistance to them. So we go fire and ice, and that should, you'll see right up here, this tracks how many skills you're supposed to have. Again, this Fultimator thing is really, really cool. And it's super, super helpful for people like me that are brand new to playing the game. So I have been really enjoying just the fact that it tracks everything for you. So as you can see, I have 4 total skills and 1 use skill, and that use skill is just me adding 2 resistances because that's one of the skills that you can get. So if I move 1 away, you'll notice it'll track as 0.5, and that's how it does it. You can't use half a skill, but it makes sense from a programming perspective. So we have that. However, I like the idea of vulnerability being important, because right now it's just if all they have is resistances and they don't have any vulnerabilities, you're basically telling your players, I'm going to punish you for using certain things. So I want to give the creature something that it can be weak to. And I'm trying to think if I want to go, because I don't think dark would make too much sense. I'm kind of choosing between bolt and wind because I could see wind having an effect on the fire aspect of it, and bolt kind of feels similar, where I could see bolt having an effect on the ice aspect of it, because again, ice is water and water is conductive. I think I might do bolt. Nah, I think I'm going to go wind. I think wind is cool. So we do that. Adding a vulnerability actually gives you an additional skill. So now we're back to the 4 things that we had, but we have a vulnerability to wind, and then we have resistance to fire and ice to kind of make this something that if they get creative, they can kind of get around things like that. And I'm actually, what I'm going to do really quickly is I want to look at the Elementalist. The reason why I want to see air bolt. Oh yeah, so I wanted to see, because one of the players has the ability to change their melee attacks into a bunch of different elements, and I don't want to give this creature a vulnerability to an element that the party doesn't have access to. I mean, technically, the party has access to any element or most elements simply through the fact that they can burn inventory points to fire an elemental shard. And what's his face? Silas, with his Magitech cannon, can actually make it do a bunch of different things. And I think just because Silas already has a bolt cannon, this is something that maybe I I don't know. Different DMs have different ideas about the things. I'm intentionally giving this creature vulnerability to Bolt because Silas already has a bolt-based weapon. And because the players are so new, unless I specifically tell them, which to me kind of breaks the immersion, unless I specifically tell them, oh, by the way, guys, you really should be trying different elements out to see if you can find a vulnerability that will make things significantly easier on you. Instead of me just flat out telling them that, if I put something in their way that has a vulnerability to a damage type that they already use, they can just do a normal attack, and then I can describe, oh, as the lightning bolt hits the creature, not only does it hit, but you watch as the lightning bolt scatters everywhere. You see this bright flash of light. Obviously, that lightning bolt hit it really hard. And then go, oh, it must be vulnerable to that. And that little bit of them kind of accidentally finding out is going to be much more effective a teaching tool for them to start going, oh, we definitely need to start checking for vulnerabilities and things like that, because that could massively change how the game plays. So it's always better to let your players, in my opinion, it's always better to let your players find things without being told specifically. And one of the easiest ways to do that is take something that they're already doing and have it react with something differently to kind of teach them about a mechanic like vulnerability here. Or if you've got a party that for whatever reason really just checks everything for traps, and so they're constantly doing investigation checks, but they're never really looking for secret passages or something like that, it'd be very simple for you to put something that looks kind of like there might be a trap there, and they'll make the investigation check. You go, well, you don't find a trap, but you do find this hidden passage, and that will instantly make them go, we haven't been checking for hidden passages. We need to check for hidden passages now. And it's significantly a more effective kind of training method than punishing them for doing something that they already did to do. Now, I know some other DMs will specifically do things to kind of, not really spite, but to kind of break players of doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, they might give this creature resistance or immunity to lightning damage just to go, hey, there's more things than bolt that exists. But they haven't really hit anything with vulnerability, and they've already dealt with resistance because the creatures they fought last time were resistant to ice damage. So anyway, so that's my explanation for why in the hell I'm doing that. So still means I have 4 more skills to put in there. So we're going to go back to designing NPCs. What other cool skills? I don't want to give it flying. I can give it better defenses. Or give it more hit points. I think I am going to give it some more hit points, because it's just because of the might score being so low. The hit points are very low. So we're going to start off at least by 10. So that brings it up to 50, which is a little bit closer to what the other ones were. So we'll do that. And we could give it a special attack. I think that might be fun. So we give it a special attack where the tail, the cinder tail, we are going to give it multi 2. So what that means is the cinder tail can actually attack multiple targets. And I think that will be fun. Because it doesn't do a massive amount of damage. Like the basic attacks, as you can see up here, we got cinder tail. It only does high roll plus 5 damage, so it's not incredibly damaging attack. But the fact that it can hit multiple targets will make it a little bit more interesting. And then, because again, I still have other skills, I'm going to make the Frostbite just do extra damage. So as you can see, Frostbite does high roll plus 10 ice damage, whereas Cindertail does high roll plus 5 fire damage on 2 targets. So that means I now have kind of a choice that I can make when I'm doing this that is something more interest assisting. So, and then what else do I want to do? I could give it some spells. Because spells are a really, really simple way to kind of modify how the creature works. The only issue with giving this creature spells is we do have a Chimerist in the party, meaning any spells that I give the creature, if they use them, the Chimerist can learn them and use them back. There's also the thing for spellcasting is either Insight and Willpower or Might and Willpower, and this just doesn't feel very much like a spellcasty kind of creature. What we could do... What else do we want to do? I think I might give it a reaction. So I'm going to go special rules. And we are going to... Yeah, I think what we're going to do is hot and cold. And so the effective is when hit with a melee attack, it deals 5 fire or ice. So, special rule that we've got is because it's, have fire and ice on it, anytime it's hit with a melee attack, it's going to deal either 5 fire or ice damage to the creature that's attacking it. It's kind of a way that you get close to it and you get a little bit of a burn. Yeah, trying to think because I don't think any of them have melee or ranged weapons. So I'm not sure if the fire. My one issue with this is because it's every single time and there's no attack roll or anything for it. The one thing that worries me is just how much damage it does. So I think... 5 isn't a ton of damage. We'll see how it works. Again, this whole thing is about learning. It's called a Frostfire Chinchilla in the thing here. I'm not sure if I want to keep that or not. We are going to call this. What is we going to call this? We can call it. I'm just gonna call it spicy chili. I don't know why it keeps missing that first thing. Spicy chili, that's what it is. So, this is a spicy chili because it's spicy because of the fire, and then it's chili because of the ice. So, it's the spicy chili, and we're going to get rid of the dash there because I don't like the dash. So, we got spicy chili. We get all that stuff there. And the traits, I'd like it to be curious. 4 traits. So let's come up with what these things. So what I'm thinking, because again, this area is kind of messed up, and there's some secrets that the players don't know about and the audience doesn't know about that I'm not going to reveal right now. But there's some stuff that's going on right now in the Waking Lands that is causing a lot of things to not work the way that they're supposed to. And that's one of the reasons why all the players are there right now. So I'm thinking that this creature used to be just a regular old kind of squirrel thing. But it got kind of mutated by the stuff that's going around. So I think it's still going to be curious because it is a very intelligent creature. I like the idea of it being vindictive. So it's curious, it's vindictive, where if it feels that it's been wronged, it's going to take it out. And the additional power it's gained from this kind of mutation has just kind of increased that kind of vindictive aspect of it. So, typical traits. Curious, vindictive. We still need 2 more. I'm going to go back and see if... So, pick 4 traits that make them unique. A personality, a need or instinct, or even a specific quirk of their nature. So just stuff to kind of... I kind of think like curious and vindictive are kind of the 2 big things because it's still a relatively basic creature. So I think I might just leave it as curious and vindictive. I mean, again, the traits here are really just to aid in role-playing and stuff like that. I guess I could say forager, because that's how they eat, and that's how, that's what squirrels are, is they're foragers. And then something else about them. Kind of like the idea of overfull with energy. Because basically this transformation, they are kind of bleeding off fire and ice on them. So they're kind of overloaded with these 2 elemental traits. And so that will help me, and I'm running this thing, that will help me to kind of run it. And that's our stat block. As you can see, like this is the whole stat block, which if you have the Fabula Ultima core book, this is what stat blocks look like in the core book. So I can literally just save this to my computer and then upload it and attach it to one of these things, and I'm basically done. So despite the fact that I was still a little bit kind of hesitant on building this thing, it's really, really quick and simple to create a very unique creature that they can now meet. I think I'm going to do at least 1 more of these streams. And I don't want this to become an hour long. I think a half an hour long video building a monster I don't think is a horrible idea. So that is going to be all for me today. As always, If you're enjoying this, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to turn notifications on. All those things are super, super important. In the comments down below, I showed you a few of the various things, and that was only from one of the 3 animated art packs. So if you guys saw something there that you really liked, or if you just have kind of an idea of a creature that would exist in this land that doesn't sleep, and is always basically kind of midday brightness, that weird things are happening and the elements are getting kind of thrown out of balance, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, it is all for me today. I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.